This is so true.
All right, everybody, welcome to Learning Curves with Liv. So here we are, the two halves of Liv Bartlett. I am recently back from Zumba, and Sarah did her hair, so enjoy that little bit of personality
the
for us.
point is that I didn't do my hair. That's what happened here. Because I have spent all day in front of the computer doing all three things, and I am still in my pajamas.
Woohoo! So why don't you tell them why you've taken a few days off work? What's the exciting developments in Livland?
Okay, so the fun and good news in Livland is that we are re-releasing Production Values, a second edition, if you will. Some small tweaks to the text that we made. I mean, nothing major. The story has not changed. There were just some things that almost a year later we're like, oh, we kind of rushed that. To hit publish. And then the print book will now be the same size as off script. And the new edition of Production Values includes a special little bit of bonus content, a scene that is not a deleted scene because it was never part of the book, but for some reason we wrote it anyway as we were writing Production Values because some characters just stand up for a minute and are like, hey, I have a thing to say.
Come here, sweetheart. Sorry.
And then you have to write it.
Come here. Come here. Come visit me. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Just had a dog emergency.
And then the other fun thing is that right now, if you sign up for Liv Bartlett's newsletter, which you can find the link for this on either, on Twitter or on Facebook to the specific claim the free story for signing up for Liv's newsletter. There's a little short Kat and Ian story that fits somewhere there in between Production Values and off script maybe, and I'll leave that to you to figure out where exactly. And so those are the exciting developments. Is that...
Oh, this is impossible. Sorry, the sun is killing me.
I was like, I'm talking and nobody is paying attention.
I am listening. I'm sorry. Whoa. It is very, very dark. So, oof. And everything else is very messy. So, the problem is that the sun in my house comes in very strong. And I love all that streaming sunlight until I don't. And then it's just misery because there is sunshine like literally everywhere in my house, which should make me happy, but it does not at the moment. So welcome to my children's room. It's kind of creepy, but it is the only room in the house that is not just being attacked by the sun. So,
all right.
We'll to see how messy. Oh, good. I can sit here in this rocker chair and I just look lovely and old. Back in my day. These are the things we did. Yeah, and you won't get to see. This is a once in a lifetime. Oh my gosh, my kids are such piglets.
Oh, that's not too terrible.
There's my dog. Oh, Thunder, you're so cute. But yeah, it's the day before cleaning day. There's the infamous Stormtrooper's mask. That my son
gosh, that picture was so great.
No.
I would only practice piano if I get to be a stormtrooper.
That was pretty much where he was. And so he was playing the piano with his stormtrooper mask on.
Can you see anything? Can you see anything through that?
I don't know. He played his song through the whole thing. So he must be able to see more than I thought he did. Or he just has it memorized and didn't want me to know that.
Well, either way, it's a win.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I took it as. Like he practiced the piano. So there's my personal life. And there's Liv's new exciting developments. So
yes, there's exciting developments. So go to Liv on Twitter because it's pinned at the top of Liv's Twitter feed, the link to go sign up for the newsletter and get this free story because I think you all will find it intriguing. And if you have not read Production Values or Off Script, either one of them, it should make you want to read them.
That is the point of a reader magnet. We learn how to
sneaky.
But the other thing I want to point out is that the blog tour for Production Values is completely full. That's happening in May, and we're pretty excited about it. But Off Script's blog tour is not full. So if you have a blog and you would like a free copy and you're willing to look at it for your blog, then please let us know. We can get you that link. Maybe we'll even put it in the comments so that you guys can watch and then decide to go ahead and help us out with that blog tour. We really are trying to monkey and me the world for May and make sure that people discover this book. We have
so
really amazing ratings, and so it's definitely, we're not handing you anything that we don't believe in.
Yeah, and so the blog tour already, we've got some really fun behind-the-scenes kind of content, and anybody who participates is welcome to present us with additional questions that they might have about the book. So yeah, hit us up. You know, we're happy to talk about our books anytime.
We are, definitely. Like today, where we are going to spend a few minutes talking to all you noobs out there, as my children like to call them, who, and apparently I don't even understand this word. Like, they call each other noob all the time. And I'm like, what are you newbies at? They're like, we're just such a noob, Mom. I'm like, what does that mean to you? But
it means
anyway,
that you're new at something. Like you're the
newest person. Yeah,
it's the equivalent of being a dumb freshman. That's what noob quality is. You know, you run in a new community. Like you're the noob for a while. Yeah.
So, for all the noobs out there, we are going to give you some insight into what we wish we had known before we hit publish.
Yeah. So, we're about a year, we're 11 months out from the first time we hit publish, when we hit publish on Production Values. And really that book looked really good and was, I would say, like 95% there, maybe more than that. But there were things that we didn't know. The first thing being that we had no idea about trim sizes and why people chose to print things in different trim sizes. So here's the original Production Values, and then here's Off-Script. And as you can see, Off-Script next to it. So Off-Script is a 6x9 trim size, and Production Values originally was a 5x8, which meant that any time that we ordered a copy of Production Values from CreateSpace, a physical copy for us to sell, the cost to us was higher than the cost for Off-Script because it took more pieces of paper for the printer to cut to make the 5x8 because there's more pages. Anyway, so that's one little thing that we didn't know. That's one of the reasons that we are reissuing Production Values in the larger trim size to match Off-Script, which, by the way, this cover, can you see that?
Woohoo! That's an award-winning cover.
Won an award.
It did. It's a cool cover.
Yeah.
Shout
really
out
beautiful.
to Victorine Leask for making that beautiful cover.
Yes, and she was like, oh, that's great. When we emailed her about it, and I was like, you don't seem nearly excited enough.
I know. So, yes,
so
that is
one
a beautiful
of the things.
cover.
The other thing is that it's completely worth it to pay somebody who knows how to format an ebook to do the formatting for your ebook. Like, yes, know some things about formatting-ish, you know, if you want to. But, yeah, leave it to somebody. She's like, no, I don't want to know anything about formatting. I am my mother's daughter, and so I do have to know some things kind of just genetically, like, I find it necessary. So what we found with Off-Script and then with this next, the second edition of Production Values, that it just takes this huge burden of, like, perfectionism off of you because you've already perfected the text. Like, that's your job. You send it off to the formatter, let them perfect the look of it, the table of contents for the ebook and all these nitpicky little details. That was one of the things that I totally messed up when I did the Production Values ebook, because I did that myself, was the table of contents was, like, terrible. It wasn't non-existent. It just wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. Anyway. Oh, gosh, what else?
I would say The one thing I wish I had really understood is the value of professional level editors. So it's not that we didn't. We did do an editing with production values. I don't think either of us would have felt like we could go with that. We didn't really know the difference between all the levels of editing or what we were asking for. And like we've discovered that we really can do a lot of our own editing as far as like proofreading and grammar, and we write what's called clean copy. So we don't make a lot of grammar errors on our own. We understand mostly where commas are supposed to go. So as far as I can tell, commas are mostly ruled by a monkey somewhere in the sub-Saharan desert that's mostly on drugs.
So our copy editor, our copy editor for this edition of Production Values did say that we were missing a lot of Oxford commas. So again, even when you do write clean copy, there's that extra little percent that you don't get right.
Yes.
Pay for a copy editor.
Pay for your editors. But don't make that your only editor, because the place that we often need more help than we realize we do is with a content editor, or somebody who can look at the story and help us to see what we've stopped seeing. So I think with Offscript and Production Values, both of them kind of had a fatal flaw in the center that we knew might exist, but we didn't really know what to do about it until our editor looked at it and said, well, here's the big problem.
Yeah.
So,
and here's the point where I stopped caring about the thing I know you want me to care about.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing. So, and that was a combination of, one of them was a developmental editor who gave us big picture advice, but it, you know, she broke it down pretty nicely in terms of like, here's what's good, here's what's bad, here's the tiny little bits that are ugly, here's kind of the big picture stuff. And then we had a line edit on Offscript that revealed all those same things that involved her giving us comments along the way as she went through the book line by line, and it was a lot about the big picture, but then there were times when she, you know, pointed out a particular sentence or phrase and said, I know you can do better. Mm-hmm. You know, so that kind of a thing. So that deep story and content level edit is so necessary to our process, and it's absolutely worth it.
Well, and I find a lot of people depend on beta readers, and we do too. We have beta readers. But our beta readers are often helping us along the way, and they do tend to be friends. And sometimes I don't think they will tell the truth quite the way that your hired editor, who knows you're paying the money, will tell you the truth.
Oh, absolutely. I think our beta readers have been really good for, like, are we starting in the right place emotionally? Like, do our characters resonate? I mean, that's where we've gotten a lot of our confidence about, you know, like, because everybody loves Eddie. Like, that's been one of the most consistent pieces of feedback from all of our beta readers across both books is, I love Eddie, and that's just immensely satisfying to both of us.
Because you need to love Eddie.
You do. You do. You have to love Eddie, and if you don't, then come talk to me, and we will have a talk. And
but yeah, and I think things like humor. Our beta readers are really helpful for letting us know the moments when our humor is hit or miss, because certainly everyone knows that you can find something funny between two people that never, ever, ever translates outside of those two people. And honestly, there's still a few of my favorite lines in there that I'm aware are probably only going to ever make me laugh. But they make me laugh enough that I don't care if nobody else laughs at them.
Yeah, well, you know, that's one of the beauties of us having the creative control that we do, is that we can still leave things in because it's, no, I really love this.
Yeah. This line makes me laugh, and I don't care if you get it, but most of the time you don't want your book to be full of lines that only make you laugh. So beta readers are extremely helpful because you can get a lot of them. You know, I think we have 6 or 8 usually is how many we go for. Mm-hmm. And so if they're all telling us like, ha-ha, laughed here, and we're like, yes, that one was out of the park. On the other hand, if they're like, I don't even understand this one, then you know, all right. So I could keep it if I want, but I'm mostly confusing my beta readers here.
Yeah.
But it's not the same level of feedback that you're going to get as from a professional level editor. So I read a lot online, and with the groups that I work with, and they're like, oh, I just don't want to spend the money on editing. Well, you have to remember the money you don't spend on editing is probably money you're going to lose on sales. So
I would say that you probably will lose more. You should be losing more in the long run on sales.
Yeah.
Because you might get if you're good at the initial marketing, you'll get a bunch of people to read your book, but then you won't have fantastic reviews.
Well, and they're not likely to pick up your second.
People continue to buy your book based on the reviews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and we have consistently good reviews on both of these books. Particularly about how tight things are thematically, which is what our developmental editors helped us with.
Yeah, and that's, you can tell them what story you're trying to tell, which we did in Offscript, where we realized we had this fatal flaw, and we were able to go to our editor and say, well, this is the story we wanted to tell, and she really helped us to recognize where we got lost in our own romantic forest, that it had not headed the direction that we needed it to go. And that is just so useful. And your beta readers might not even know how to fix it, because you really want your beta readers to be readers, not writers. You want them to be people who you think will like your book, because you want to test your audience at that point.
Absolutely.
So that's
we have a nice variety of beta readers in terms of age and other demographics, and just kind of what they hone in on as they read. That's always very useful.
Yes, and if you want a piece of beta reader advice, I would say do not get a group of beta readers and have them read every single thing that you write. You want to test it outside your genre, outside your desired audience, and then have a few that you know are the audience that you're looking for, because you will be shocked how much you learn from those people who are not who you thought you were trying to reach with your book. I would say the men that read our book were some of the best beta readers that we had.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we've written women's fiction, which you tell somebody that's what you write, and they're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, that's a really good question, because I don't know that I know what it means, except that it's books that are for girls.
And about women. It's about women and about
women.
That interest
I know,
women.
it's a much deeper answer, but it's really astonishing to me, especially, mostly it's men. Men don't understand what women's fiction is. And I'm like, because you don't have to understand what women's fiction is, because all the rest of the fiction is for you.
Yeah.
I totally got myself off track. No, the guys that we had read our women's fiction as beta readers were fantastic. Mm-hmm. And even about things that were about emotional truths, and it wasn't just technical stuff, so let's not underestimate, the emotional value of men. Okay.
Yes, please don't. So, but yeah, go for somebody outside. I see a lot, and they'll get 5 or 6 people that are super fans, and they read all their book. Well, if they're super fans, they're probably just going to tell you what you want to hear, and you actually don't want those beta readers.
No.
This is not the time to ask your mom, though you want your mom to read everything that you write, but, your mom's going to tell you that it's great. And granted, my mom didn't tell us everything we wanted to hear. But you really want to make sure that you're finding people who are going to be truthful and help you uncover the emotional pieces and aspects of your work. And then you get yourself a good editor who can tell you all the stuff you don't want to hear for real. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, have somebody who will do a good copy edit / proofread. So, even when you do produce a clean copy, have somebody who do a copy edit. Pay this person. We definitely get better results when we pay somebody to do this edit than when we don't. It's nice that people want to do favors, but again, they're not getting paid for it, and I think that has shown in a couple of things that people have done for us, just in things that have been missed. So yeah, a copy edit and a proofread. That is not you. You cannot proofread your own work.
Nope, you can't.
Nope,
it's too hard, for one thing, to lose the character voice that's inside your head, because if you've written your character well, then they speak to you in some ways. And so you want to be able to help with voicing. That's important, but you really need your proofreader to be somebody who can take that step back, and it's not you at that point. So all the pauses that you've put in there and all the things that are there, it's almost like you can't imagine it ever reading different than that. So you're not able to step enough inside someone else's head to do it. So that's a big piece of it that I would say.
Yes.
The other thing that I would put out here is that marketing a book is hard. You really are throwing something out that there's so many of them that people could use it to litter the world. I mean, literally, it's just, there is a book for every single person, and there's 50,000 of that same book. You need to have enough friends to make this thing successful. So do the hard work of going out and making those writer friends, of finding people who will help you with shout outs, who will help you with blog tours, and even just giving you sage advice like which print size. You know, hey, Nikki, love you. But you need somebody that you can email in the dead of night and says, hey, here's what you should probably be doing. So you want to do that, because writing may be solitary, but selling a book is a public endeavor. And make sure you have those people in your back pocket, and don't be afraid to shop around a little bit for your particular writer community. I think I joined probably somewhere between 13 and 15 groups of writers on Facebook and in person before I really found those people that I knew would support me all the time and that were going to be there even if they didn't understand what I was writing, because my favorite group, everyone else writes fantasy and sci-fi except me, and I every week bring them this women's fiction. And every week they are so good and they critique it, and then I read all their things about dragons, and I sit there and think, I can't believe I'm in this group. But they have my back every single release, every single thing I do, every beta read that I know. And that is vital to you as a writer. I mean, first off, you need the people you can go to and say, I think I suck. And they're like, you don't suck like you think you did, but you still wrote this really badly. You know, so you need those people in your life. But you need them to be there on the day when you're like, no one is ever going to care about anything I wrote. And they can be like, but I care. You know, and even if they do only really seem to understand dragons and genies, it doesn't really matter what they write so much as how well they're going to support you when the time comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, get the right people. Lose the people who are not the right people. Like, don't be afraid of being like, nope, you're you know, this critique group isn't any good for me. Yeah. Seek out critique and feedback. I will say do that. And I say that as somebody who totally doesn't do it.
Oh, no. Sarah paused on us. Hold on. Well, that might be the end of Learning Curves with Liv, because Sarah is not coming back to play. So we will talk more next time about things that we wish that we had known way back when. In the meantime, make sure you check out the author interviews. I'm hoping they come more often. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.